Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Be Positive, Stay Positive podcast. My name is Nat and I'm here for you. I am here for you as often as I can get to this microphone to hopefully give you the keys to the door that will unlock your happiness, and that's the goal, to be happy. That's our goal here on the planet, is to be happy. Hey, if this is your first time here, glad you found the show. I've got some emails and messages from a few of you that have been listening for a while, and some newbies that have just come onto the show and are starting at the beginning. I love that. That first show with my 4 listeners is kind of cringy, but you know, you can see how far it's come in all this time. If you like the show, make sure you share it with people that need it or people that could use a little positivity. Share it on your social media, everywhere, you know, and if you buy a book, you can actually get a sticker to put on your car. Speaking of books, you know, I have a book. It's called The Positive Perspective. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it directly from me and skip big tech. I like when people skip big tech. We don't want to give our money to big tech. You can go to bepositivepodcast.com. There should be a pop-up or a link or something like that takes you to the book. And you get it directly from me, a lot faster than Amazon. And you can also get a personalized copy. And when you order it from me, you get extra stuff. Amazon doesn't do that for you, but I will. What else do I got? The text line. Don't forget about the text line, 304-506-3332. And, I think there's a merchandise tab on the website. And I don't know if it goes to the new store that has hats and, coolie cups and shirts, different shirts. And, I gotta check that out. I don't even know what's on that thing anymore. I'm too busy to update that website. Also, what else? I gotta give a shout out to Richard, listening on Spotify. Richard, I appreciate you listening on Spotify. And a shout out to Rose. She's been listening for quite a while now, and, sent me something that, we should be talking about. I will get to that. But what I want to talk about today is, there's a lot to unpack in today's show. So sit back and relax, and I'm going to read this email and see what we can come up with. And then after that, I'm going to talk about it a bit. It says, I've been listening to you for a bit and you've helped me greatly, but I'm struggling to keep it simple. It's hard to stay positive consistently. I still get angry, I still get upset, and I'm unable to escape it. I'm going to stop right there. Guess what? I get angry, I get upset, and sometimes I can't stop it either. So you're human. All right. It says, for 5 years, I've worked with the company with the understanding that I will take over the business once the owners retire. It's a small 3-person company. The company has a well-established clientele base, and I've earned the client's trust. I've made a minimum salary, so I pay for the company through sweat equity. Sorry. During the negotiations, one of the owners proceeds to make an agreement with a third party to sell the business, and now I'm out. I won't go into specific details because it will be too long. I have struggled to stay positive through all of this, which at this point I have no control over and is out of my hands. I must keep pushing forward and focus to make things happen for myself. So I went ahead and opened my own business. Good for you. But I still struggle with staying positive and staying confident. Is there a specific timeline for something like this? To stay positive, to keep focus, to keep my confidence high? I struggle with this. My wife learned something recently as she grieves for her brother who recently passed. Per one of her books, she has been reading about suffering and that something like what I'm going through is okay to be angry. You're absolutely right. That you have to give yourself time to go through this stage and accept, and only then can you gain that positive mindset and the confidence in yourself to look to the future and not to the past. So my questions are, how can I stay consistent? Is there a timeline? Is it okay to be pissed, but for some time? He says, I hope this makes sense. Lastly, have you had a show that helped you or a spouse during their grieving when their family member is lost? Again, my wife lost her brother to addiction. He struggled this past year. How can we cope? How can she manage? How can I help her during this grieving time? We do understand that there is no timeline, but... All right, there's a lot to unpack here, so let me go back to the beginning of this email, okay? and say that you put a lot of faith into someone else for your future. I understand working with a company that you're being told you're going to take over and sacrificing for that and feeling like you've given everything that you should have done and done all the right things and got screwed in the end. And you did. But there's nothing that you can do about it. You can be mad for a little while, but that saying that we all hate, that's life, right? That shit happens. And I'm going to stop there, and I'll tell you a quick little story. When I worked for a major company in Florida, a good friend of mine owned a huge printing company, worked there for many, many, many years, actually taught me the printing industry, and was like a big brother, father figure to me. I had a great job, and was planning on getting ready to go on tour with his daughter, who was a country singer. So in order to cover my position, I had to train other people to cover my job before I left so I could come back to the job and everything was cool. After I trained everybody, I was let go. It was devastating. I'm telling you what, I know exactly where you're coming from. I was blown away, but I learned a valuable lesson. I'm still friends with him today. Still a great, great person. Still friends. It wasn't his fault. It was just business. It's just business. Wasn't personal. And I totally get it. But what you need to understand is that you have to stand on your own. So after you were squeezed out of the deal, so to speak, for lack of better terms, I love your approach. Because after you lost the job and lost the opportunity and had the rug yanked out from underneath you, you got pissed for a while. You licked your wounds, and you started your own business. Right there is the thing you need to focus on. Because being pissed about what happened isn't going to change what happened. The past is the past, the future is the future, and neither one of those really exist. Because the past is the memory, the future is your imagination. We only have the present. So right now, you're in the present with your new business. And you got to keep pushing forward because it's just what you want to do. You don't want to just sit around and rot and give up and blame other people. You don't sound like a person who's going to blame anybody else. Even though you kind of got screwed in the deal, you learned a valuable lesson that you have to look out for number one. So saying that you struggle with staying positive and staying confident, don't beat yourself up over it because you know what? So do I, dude. So do I. So does everyone. Even the most confident people, the most successful people, deep down have insecurities. They have uncertainties. Sometimes they're not positive. But when you're asking if there's a timeline, a designated timeline, can I say, oh, in 6 months, everything's going to be fine? Nobody could say that. Only you can control the timeline by your reaction to what has happened, by your response and your actions to what you're doing now. So when you go, now moving to your wife because she lost her brother to addiction, first of all, I'm so sorry. It's the worst, one of the worst ways to lose someone. Because it's not a health thing, it can be stopped. But losing someone like that to an addiction, you have to understand that it was their choice to not get help. Maybe they didn't understand, maybe they just gave up, maybe he just overdosed on something by mistake. Whatever it is, it sucks. Losing people in your life sucks. There's no two ways about it. But I know it sounds easy to say, but we all come from the same energy. The energy is still there. You will meet up with that person again in the next realm. So you have to live in the present. Dwelling on that from the past is not going to make things any better. Sure, grieving, you have to grieve, yeah. You got to show your grief over it and be sad and get the sadness out, and it's okay. to be upset. It's okay to be pissed. It's okay to be angry. But it's not okay to stay pissed. It's not okay to stay angry. It's not okay to stay upset. Because when you remain in that state of consciousness of anger, you're living in the past. You're angry over something that already happened. And you can't change it. You can't change it. And it's okay to be pissed. And the timeline is up to you. At any moment you can say, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm done with this hurt. I'm done with this pain. I'm done with this anger. I'm done being pissed at somebody. I'm just not going to do it anymore. And you move on. And I can say that because I've done that. There's been people in my life that have really, really put me to the test. And I should have never forgiven these people. Other people wouldn't forgive these people for what they've done. But I did. And you know what? I'm better for it because it's not dwelling in my mind. I've accepted it. I moved on. They're better for it because they learned what a true person, a true friend can be. And it changed them as an individual. So most of them, not all of them. But how do you cope with it? How do you manage it? How can you help her through this grieving time? All you can do is be there for her. And let her know it's okay to grieve. It's sad. It's terrible. But don't let it continually affect your life and your happiness. Because all you're doing is reliving the past, reliving the pain, reliving the anger. And it's past. It's a memory. So you're refiring that memory and keeping it alive in your mind. The negativity. In order to get past that, you have to accept it and move on and not dwell on it. Sure, you can reflect on it here and there, but don't dwell on it. It's not what's important. What's important is what's happening right now. So all I have to say is, how do you remain consistent in your life? Well, this is going to sound stupid, but by staying consistent. By sticking to your thoughts and sticking to what you know is right. And you sound like a smart person because after losing the position for the job, you started your own business. And you know what? I'm going to say it again. You started your own business. It's yours. You're in charge. No one can take that away from you. No one can tell you how to run it. And no one is you can't blame anybody if it fails. And you can't praise anybody if it's a success. Except yourself. And as long as you understand that and understand the work that's going to be involved in running your own business, I know, I've done it. But you know what? It's a great feeling to run your own business. And at the same time, it's stressful as hell. But you'll make it. You will make it. I know. I can just tell by the way you word yourself, your words are in this email, that you're going to be okay. So now you come to a point to where you say, okay, so I've accepted the past. I'm living in the present. What does the future hold for me? Well, the future is yours. Whatever you make it. Whatever you think about, you bring about. So when you go to sleep at night, think about your business. I don't even know what it is. Think about and visualize the next step in the success ladder of your business. Maybe it's more customers. Maybe it's more clients. Maybe it's more employees. Maybe it's just the fact that you are paying your bills and happy and spending time with your wife while being your own boss for your business. Whatever it is, it's obviously something you want to do. Because if you wanted to take over that company, you're obviously smart enough to run a business. So I think it's actually, hear me out, a blessing in disguise. Because now you don't have to manage a business that's someone else's, that you've taken over, that you kind of got to keep it the way it was. It's yours. And it sounds like you have quite a bit of integrity, so I think your business will be fine. Now, I do want you to sit down and talk with your wife, and both of you grieve over the passing of her brother. And when you're done, I want you to talk about all the happy stuff that he brought to the world. And I want you to put this chapter of your life in the rearview mirror. Because I want you to remember him with the happy thoughts when things were different. And don't blame him. Don't feel bad. Move forward, because if he's any kind of brother, he would want you to be happy. And you would want him to be happy if it was reversed the other way. So that's the goal here. So I'm hoping that these words helped you and your wife a little bit try to get through this and figure out the consistency and how to be happy. So maybe it helps. Let me know if it helps. All right, don't forget about the book. The new book is coming out. It's going to be a few months. I'm still writing it. But Positive Perspective, please grab a copy of it. That really helps me keep this show going. And also you can grab a shirt or something, or a Coolie cup from the website. That really helps out a lot. I'd appreciate that. And if you've read the book and you like it, go somewhere and give it a good review, a thumbs up, share it, get it out there. All right, that's it. There sure was a lot to unpack today. Thanks to everybody who wrote into the show and texted the show. And Rose, we're going to get to you next show. All right. My name is Nat. This has been the Be Positive, Stay Positive podcast. I think we can all do a little bit better. I'll talk to you later.